Well, folks, we have just so much absolute ridiculousness going on in the market here today. This is just going to be a lot of talking about a lot of different subjects in regards to market. We're talking about a lot of stocks in today's video, a lot of interesting things going on in the market, some very strange things, let's just call it that. They seem like they're prepping for something. So yeah, a lot to get into in today's video. I appreciate everybody joining me as always. Thank you for being subscribed, folks. Let's just start going into this, okay? So first off here, a little bit of a tough day for a lot of these big tech stocks. Adobe's down over 4% today. AMD's down around 4%. Nvidia's down 3+%, which, Nvidia's suddenly showing all of a sudden weakness. There's people still talking about they don't believe NVIDIA's numbers. They think NVIDIA's lying about these numbers, or they're fabricating the numbers, and all these sorts of interesting, let's call it viewpoints in regards to NVIDIA. So you got that going on, but I thought Adobe's move was very telling today because Adobe just reported earnings, and the earnings were pretty freaking amazing. I mean, you look at these numbers, subscription revenue up almost $500 million, or actually a little over $500 million year over year. Total revenue was up substantially. You had costs stay pretty in line. Gross profit came in at $4.3 billion versus $3.8 in the same quarter last year. I mean, the numbers are extraordinary. Operating income nearly $1.7 billion versus less than $1.5 in the same quarter last year. Net income came in at $1.4 billion versus $1.1 in the same quarter last year. I mean, the numbers were phenomenal. It's just Adobe's another one of those stocks that kind of gets put into the AI category a little bit because they do have some specific products that are really catering to the AI segment. And it just seems like it doesn't matter what numbers these companies put up right now. It just seems like there's no momentum there with these stocks. No momentum. It just seems like they've kind of lost their luster, at least in the short term here. And that goes for NVIDIA. I mean, NVIDIA's numbers were absolutely incredible. The guidance was ridiculous. And yet that stock is lower today than it was prior to earnings. Think about that for a moment. That's insane to think about, right? And so this is something we have going on that's pretty crazy. But the next thing might even be crazier than this. That's PayPal. PayPal's actually finally freaking going. Are you kidding me? PayPal's finally moving up. Stock's up over 8% in the past month. Here we are. We got Alex Chris about to start at PayPal very soon here. If I recall, he starts September 27th. Don't quote me on that, but I think that's when he starts, right? And it's just interesting that here we are getting closer to a start date, and finally the stock's actually starting to move in the right direction, which is extraordinary. I mean, even PayPal today in the Patreon portfolio, which, by the way, I made 6 moves in the Patreon portfolio. If you want access to see all the moves I'm making in the market, check out the description area down there. You can join and see, all the moves I'm making in my Patreon portfolio through Fidelity Investments. But it actually just turned green today. We turned green on PayPal in the Patreon portfolio. Holy smokers, this is no dang jokers. Now, I thought this was very interesting. Okay, Estow's having a great day. Apple's struggling again today, Chipotle a little bit, but look at Toll Brothers specifically. Toll Brothers down nearly 4% here today. What's going on with these home builders? Well, Lennar reported earnings, and Lennar earnings overall were seen as very positive, very positive. It was hard to poke anything, but it's clear as day, Wall Street believes the home builders are peaking right now, and they have peaked, and things will get worse for them in 24 and beyond. That's Wall Street's opinion. How do you know Wall Street's opinion? Pay attention to what's going on with the stock price, okay? These stocks pumped heavy into summer, and then, really over the past several weeks, these stocks can't do anything right despite great earnings, despite positive kind of momentum and belief in regards to home building. None of these stocks are doing well. Now, it's very important to understand what happened to these stocks prior to the great financial crisis, because these stocks all peaked, the home builders, in 2005. In the summer of 2005, all these home builders peaked. Lennar, Toll Brothers, all of them, okay? Remember, people weren't even considering recession until 2007, and obviously it wasn't until 2008 that we actually got, slapped in the face really hard, right? Into 2009, and then we kind of, slowly started to come back in 2010, 11, 12, right? But that just goes to show you we could be in some sort of peaking cycle there where maybe the recession doesn't quite hit yet, right? But it's still coming. And so the home builders maybe are trying to tell you a little something in regards to that, right? So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. But these home builders, although the numbers look really good, the margins look really good, the profits are pretty much all-time high, it's clear as day Wall Street saying your best days are numbered. Speaking about best days numbered, oh my gosh. Honest, that's honestly disgusting. 18% today? All I did was sell out my public account. And holy smokes, there wasn't one person to buy today? Like, my gosh, absolutely vicious in regards to honest. That's honestly disgusting. Fubo showing some more momentum. Fubo's setup, obviously, in the short term and long term is great. I saw the silliest thing in regards to Fubo. Absolute ridiculous thing in regards to Fubo. Look at this. You're going to crack up, okay? Check this out. This was yesterday. Right when the NFL game was about to start, Thursday Night Football, Fubo sees this massive spike up in Google Trends data, okay? Here's the best part. The football game wasn't even on Fubo. It was on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime has exclusive rights to Thursday Night Football. So everybody's searching Fubo to go watch a football game, and it's not even on Fubo, which just goes to show you how well Fubo's really done around branding, specifically in regards to sports in general, that people think there's a big sporting event. Oh, I want to watch this. Oh, the Eagles are playing the Vikings. Fubo, like top of mind, right? So that's just fascinating, man. Absolutely fascinating to see something like that. And we're still shaping up like this is going to be the biggest September ever for Fubo and Google Trends data by far. This is where we're hanging very recently here. I can't wait till all these numbers finalize over this next, let's call it 4 to 5 weeks, because usually these Google Trends data in terms of overall week numbers, it kind of takes a little while to kind of shake out and whatnot. So I can't wait till we're able to have all the September numbers finalized and look back, because this Google Trends data looks like it's going to be by far and away the biggest we've ever seen in history for Fubo. And it's not even, I don't even think it's going to be close in regards to this one. So yeah, Fubo, loving it. Okay. Oil. Oil continues to pump, no pun intended. And there's two ways to look at this. Okay. So first off, it's not good for the consumer. Let's be honest. Most people still drive internal combustion engines. Most people still have to go to a gas station to fill up their vehicle, right? Most people are not driving electric vehicles as of yet. So, and here's the even worse part. Most people that drive electric vehicles are usually doing better financially. And so those folks aren't as affected by gas prices. The people that are more affected by gas prices are, let's call it middle class, and especially under the middle class. If you have to pay $5 a gallon for gas versus $3, it's a substantial difference. And you add that up week by week by week. So it's not a good situation at all for the consumer. And we know the consumer's already been hit by inflation so heavily over the past 2 years, specifically, really the past 18 months. So it's not good for the consumer. It's not good for CPI numbers. It's hurting CPI numbers substantially right now, gas prices. The one thing I will say is it's going to help CPI numbers certainly next year, right? Unless we're 120 or something next year. And the only way you really get there is if the economy is just overheating red hot next year or something like that. Then you could talk about oil 120 at this time next year or something like that. Outside of that scenario, oil will likely be lower next year. It's a supply and demand game. And especially if we're in some sort of situation where there's actually a recession going on or big fears about that, then that'll be a whole different dynamic and you'll have oil prices that will have crashed in that sort of scenario. So it's definitely hurting us right now. It could help us long term. Okay. All right. That wasn't enough absolute craziness. And oh man, I think we're just getting started. Okay. Get ready to see something even more ridiculous than anything I've probably shown you so far, okay? It's just going to get more ridiculous as this video goes along. Check this out. This is AI investor sentiment numbers, right? And look at how much things are diverging on a week-by-week basis. I mean, this is silly. This is absolutely silly. On a week-by-week basis. August 30th week ending, 33% of investors were bullish. The next week, we jumped to 42%. Does that make sense to jump that substantially? No, like you usually used to see maybe a 1 to 3% difference on a week over week basis. Not nearly 10 percentage points. That's silly, okay? Then we go from 42% bullish last week to now 34% bullish this week. What? Okay, these numbers are shaking around way too much. It's like all of a sudden people are feeling great, okay, and then great. And then okay, and then great. Now, you know what's interesting is very recently here, at least the last couple of weeks, the bearish numbers are kind of coming in line and not making big movements. So it seems like people are just, all of a sudden they're very bullish and then they're back to neutral. But it seems like a lot of people just aren't bearish, other than you're always going to have a certain amount bearish in the market, right? The historical average for bearishness is 31%. So we're slightly under that right now, but we're roughly in line. But it seems like people are just going back and forth in terms of I'm neutral on the market. Oh, now I'm bullish. I'm neutral. I'm bullish. I'm neutral. I'm bullish. So it's what we're dealing with. And I could tell you going at the end of last year, what it was like people were kind of moving between neutral and bearish, neutral and bearish, neutral and bearish. And now we just got an opposite situation where it's bullish, neutral, bullish, neutral. So yeah, that's stupid. That's the best way to put it. Like, if your opinion is changing bullish, bearish on the market on a week over week basis, like this just doesn't make any sense. It's just ridiculous, okay? But that's what we have going on. It's silly time in the markets, okay? Dividend stocks continue to just struggle. Like if I think about all my problem children really in my portfolio right now, almost all of them recently are my dividend stocks. My dividend stocks are just doing horrible. The Patreon portfolio, obviously, my dividend portfolio is my worst performing portfolio over the past year. Like that portfolio is doing horrible, absolutely horrible. Public accounts doing amazing, but that's more growth stock heavy than dividend stocks. But my dividend stocks in the public account are sucking as well. These dividend stocks blow. They blow right now. Okay, let's just call it what it is. I don't think it's going to be like that forever. And I do think there's going to be a flip happening, and we'll speak about it in just a moment when I think that flip's going to happen and how it's going to happen. But let's just be very clear. Dividend stocks suck right now. They absolutely suck right now. Okay? If you're thinking about like where the stock price is in the more short term, right? Look at my growth stocks, right? They're freaking beasts. You can't stop these stocks. Tesla is an absolute animal growth stock. Meta, an absolute animal growth stock. Elf Beauty, an absolute growth stock. You look at this, okay? You can't touch these sorts of returns. This is insane. Palantir, just killing it. Amazon, just killing it. You can't touch these. This is just ridiculous. But these are the type of stocks also no one wanted last year. Look where Elf was last year. Look where Meta was last year. Look where Tesla was last year. Look where Palantir was. Just literally, if you were to pull up Amazon, we're going to go to Amazon. Literally, if you just pulled up every single one of these stocks and where they were at last year at this time versus, that was crazy. I literally clicked Amazon and went to Amazon's website. That's insane. I don't even know how that happened, but it did happen, okay? Look where those stock prices were at this time last year and tell me where they're at now. Somebody in the comment section, if you got a few minutes on your hands, okay, while you're watching the remainder of this video, let me know what all these stock prices were on September 15th for these 5 stocks, and then type out where they are at right now, okay? I'll heart the comment and try to, get it to the top or something like that, whoever does that. Because you'll see, like, it's ridiculous what these stocks were at this time last year versus where they're at now. But dividend stocks are starting to play. So when do dividend stocks start to come back to life? I'll show you exactly when. These stocks come back to life when the belief is that treasury yields are going to likely start going down in some sort of substantial way. People will front run it, okay? No different than people front ran tech stocks, right? Because you look at tech stocks, have earnings necessarily been great the last couple quarters? No. We should see tech earnings get much better this upcoming quarter that will be reported at the end of October, beginning of November, and certainly the December quarter, okay? And I think tech earnings are going to be really, really nice. I think Meta's numbers, Amazon's numbers, a lot of these companies' numbers are going to be extraordinary on a year-over-year basis. NVIDIA is going to likely continue to pound out phenomenal numbers. But everybody front ran that, right? I think the same thing will happen with dividend stocks. So I think there will be some sort of strength that comes in dividend stocks in 2024, and it could come in early 2024 because at some point people believe treasuries are going to start going down and they're not going to continue to yield short-term treasuries of 5+%. And so if people start feeling like treasuries are going to likely start going down in terms of yields in the back half of 24, people will likely start positioning dividend stocks at, let's call it the first half of 2024 in that sort of situation, right? So that's something I definitely think is a realistic possibility. And I'm getting ahead of that right now because what am I doing? I'm actively buying dividend stocks. I'm buying dividend stock. I bought so many dividend stocks for today, it's ridiculous. And I don't see myself slowing down or stopping buying dividend stocks anytime soon. For the next several months, I'm going to be loading up on these dividend stocks. I'm front running the front runners. That's just the bottom line with that. I got to beat Wall Street to the punches because I know Wall Street's likely coming in these stocks first half of 24. I got to beat them to it. I beat them to it in terms of the growth stocks last year. I'm going to beat them into the dividend stocks this year. So that's what's going to play out there, okay? Next, this might be even more ridiculous. Oh, my gosh, okay? President Biden says record profits should ensure record contracts for UAW strikes, for GM Stellantis plants, right? Here's the deal. That's just so backwards looking. The government's just ridiculous, okay? The Fed's ridiculous. All these guys, they look at all this backwards looking data, and I think because certain things happened in the past, it means they're going to happen moving forward, okay? Here's the deal. These automakers are not going to have record profits over the next several years. I can tell you that much, okay? They're going to be struggling. Interest rates are extremely high right now. If interest rates do come down in any substantial way, likely because the economy weakened quite a bit from here, and we had some sort of recession where unemployment went up substantially. That's not going to be good for automakers. All these automakers are dealing with Tesla, who's got their foot on the neck of all these automakers right now. And now you're going to ask them to, pay their workforce dramatically more, which I'm hearing numbers such as 36% more from what I heard was proposed. At the end of the day, I'm just telling you, you think these companies are going to have record profits going forward? They're not, okay? They're not. And a lot of them are going to end up long-term being in financial trouble. And yet Biden and these politicians act like, oh, man, go for the kill, get as much money as you can. You got to understand, all you're doing is likely putting many of these companies in an earlier grave than maybe they would have had, okay? Because we had a sloshing of stimulus money and unemployment at threes and, pretty much record low interest rates, all has gone away now. It's all gone away. So where is that going to leave these automakers over this next several years? And they're trying to transition to EVs where they're losing a fortune. None of these guys are making a profits from EVs other than Tesla. They're losing a fortune. So where do you think that's going to put these guys, okay? I'll tell you the only one that benefits probably from this whole mess other than maybe Tesla, the only one, I'll tell you exactly, and they benefit more than anyone, okay? Mexico. 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 They're the ones that are going to benefit huge from all this, okay? At the end of the day, we're going to hurt our auto industry in a massive, massive way. People think, oh, this is going to be great. We're going to get all these wage increases. All you're doing is eliminating your jobs over the next 5 to 10 years. That's all you're doing. Because at the end of the day, you can get the same quality job done down in Mexico for way cheaper price, okay? I got so much pride in the United States of America, and I'm probably one of those cocky Americans that think we're so great at everything. I can just tell you, there's no difference in the quality of work you'll get from people putting a car together in Mexico versus the United States. There's no difference. It will all be the same, okay? As long as you got the same quality managers overlooking everything, all going to be the same job. And in Mexico, especially based upon some of these wage increases, you're going to be able to do the job for 50% less. Minimum 50% less, if not 60 to 70% less. What do you think they're going to do? Going to move more and more production over this next 5, 10 years down to Mexico until we basically have almost no auto industry in the United States of America. That's what's going to happen, but people don't look long term. They just think about now, and that's politicians, right? Their jobs, they come up every few years. Presidents are only in for 4 years, right? And then you hope to maybe get another term, so you're in for 8 years. So it just is what it is, and you got to get reelected every 2 to 4 years in most of these positions. Short-term thinking, and that's a problem. Okay. Now, this is another problem. So I don't know if you guys know, but there's this movie coming out, Dumb Money. It's about the whole AMC and GameStop and all that type of stuff. And now people are all jacked up thinking there's going to be some revival in these sorts of stocks, man. Can we just give it up? Can we just freaking give it up already? Like, come on. AMC stock in the past year is down over 90%. It's down over 90% in the past year. That's not even from the highs, okay? Like, when it comes to this whole movement and whatever, those days are long gone. The only reason this movement happened, right? Only reason this movement happened is because people had already been making a bunch of money in the market. You had crazy amounts of stimulus money out there. Everybody was forced to be home. And we had record signups for Robinhood and all that stuff. And it was just a whole movement. Like, you can't duplicate that again. It's over. And like, people want to relive it again and like hoping they're going to be able to relive it again. And it's over, man. Every time they hope like, oh, we're going to relive this thing again, it's over. Like, nowadays, it's about building great portfolios of growth stocks value stocks, dividend stocks, building a great portfolio, 10, 15, 20 stocks that you're proud of for the next 5, 10 years, and continuing to build your account and build your portfolio in great companies. GameStop is not a great company, and AMC is not a great company. Just factual. Build your positions in great companies that have brilliant futures in front of them, and go about it that way. Because the days of all this weird stuff, it's over, man. It's been over. That's over 2 years ago now, and it's not coming back. Unless we get everybody forced to be home in massive stimulus money, then we can have another one of those situations. But outside of that, it's not happening again. Okay, so it was a time period, which is why there's a movie being made about it. It was a time period in the market, but it's over, man. Now it's about building real portfolios, scaling up, get to 6 figures, get to 7 figures, get to 8 figures, and scale up that way. So appreciate everybody joining me as always, folks. If you're looking to apply, join my private group, and you're looking to learn how to scale up, then check out the pinned comment down there. You can apply to join us in there, and see if you're a good fit. Much love as always, and have a great day.